Hi, I'm Jaleesa Hatchett, the founder of Energetically You, and I'm so glad that you decided to join us today. Um, we're going to be talking about the five elements, which hopefully is something you know a little bit about, or possibly you don't know anything, and that's why you're here. And either way, we're going to cover all things related to the five elements. It's based in traditional Chinese medicine, and I personally have had some interesting health issues that have lingered for years that I wasn't finding answers to in regular Western medicine. And so, just on a path to help heal myself, I became interested in this. And it's so fascinating that I've taken courses, and that's basically what got us to this point today. Again, thank you for being here. And I'm excited to share the five elements with you. Today is October 23rd, in case you did not know. And this is day one of our workshop. It'll be 2 days. And even if you're not on live and you signed up, you will also be getting these replays so you can watch it back at your convenience. So basically, we're going to talk about how we raise our energy, how you raise your vibe in life. And really, we need to know what to focus on. So today, hopefully, you're going to discover something that you didn't already know about yourself that will help shift your own energy and have you feeling better. That's the whole point in this. Um, what are the five elements? Like I said earlier, they're based in traditional Chinese medicine, and the elements are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And when everything is working in harmony, we feel amazing. But most of the time, due to outside stresses and different things in life, things get out of balance. And so it causes a shift in these elements, which are all correlated to different organs in our body. And so that's what we're going to kind of cover today. But the goal is to have a balanced system so that we can enhance our physical health, improve digestion, boost our energy, and create emotional stability. And the emotional stability aspect to me is so important because as women, I feel like a lot of times we stuff our emotions. It's just kind of the way society has taught us to be. And it's truly not healthy when we don't address our emotional feelings. It can show up in different organs in our system, which is what we're going to discover today. So today we're going to talk about the five element quiz. And the two elements we're going to cover today are wood and fire. We're going to talk about some life wave patches, which are truly some magical little stickers that help you feel amazing. And then we're also going to cover food swaps, movement, which is like some stretches, and then acupressure points that will help balance these two elements. So here is my five element quiz. If you have not taken this before, take a moment now to scan this QR code with your phone and save it so that you can take the quiz at a later time. If you lose it, it is always on my website, which is energeticallyu.com. And through answering some questions about yourself, it's going to tally everything and you'll receive an email that actually will tell you which of the five elements is your home base. We all have all five elements, and most of us have all of the organs. Sometimes, even if you're missing one of the organs, you still have the meridian line in your body. So it's still important to balance the energy for an organ, even if you're missing it, like your gallbladder. So we're going to talk about all those things today. So the five elements, which are the wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, they each govern two separate organs in our body. One is usually yin energy and one is yang energy. So they balance each other. And I think it's really interesting that as we age, men tend to lose more yang energy, whereas women tend to use more, women tend to lose more yin energy. So for the wood element, the wood element governs your liver and your gallbladder. And your liver element is actually your yin organ, and gallbladder is your yang organ. For fire, this is the only element that governs more than two body parts. So this one governs your small intestine and your heart, as well as your pericardium and triple burner, which your pericardium is the sac that surrounds your heart. And then triple burner is like 3 different energy centers in your body in the connective tissue. And it's called the triple burner because it's broken up into 3 sections in your body, like upper, which would be your head, middle, which is your torso, and then lower is obviously the bottom half of your body. So an example would be if you have a sciatic issue, that would be burning in the lower part. So your lower burner is giving you issues. And then the earth element governs your spleen and your stomach. The metal element governs your lung and large intestine. And then water governs your kidney and your bladder. I love this slide. Earlier, when we were talking about your emotional health, this is what I was talking about. So if we don't learn to address our emotional component, it shows up in different organs. So for example, your liver is a place where anger can cause a problem. So if you're a person who doesn't like confrontation and you stuff all the things in until eventually you just explode, more than likely you have a little imbalance in your liver. Your heart, when you're healthy and everything is working well, the emotion associated with that is joy. The spleen is worry. And a lot of times, if you're someone who has a stomach ache often, or it hurts on the left side of your stomach, kind of under your rib cage, that's a sign that your spleen has a little imbalance. For your lung, it's grief, and then the kidney is fear. And if this sounds a little out there, I promise there is so much evidence that this is real. And I personally just recently experienced a lot of fear in a short amount of time with the situation that was completely out of my control. And even knowing all the things that I know, I still ended up having a kidney infection, which is now I think it's fascinating. Like this thing happened, and within 24 hours, I was having back pain, and I thought, I wonder if I'm having a kidney infection. But then I was like, oh, it's probably just tight muscles, or I didn't sleep much. I was stressed. It'll be nothing. But in all reality, I truly gave myself a kidney infection. So it's super important that we learn how to manage our emotions so that it doesn't manifest into an issue in our body. And some of the things that we'll talk about today will help you with this. So here is the entire 5-element theory in a circle. And we're going to start today with the wood element because a lot of people do tend to have issues with their liver and their gallbladder. And again, if the liver is anger, that's the emotion associated with that. So this is where we're starting. But in a healthy individual, your wood element feeds your fire element, which then feeds your earth element, metal, and water. And like I said, we have all 5 of these. Everybody does. But we all have a home base, one particular element that governs us. And when you take my 5-element quiz and answer those questions, it will tell you exactly what your home base is. And then for every element, when every element controls another element. So I personally am governed by the metal. So my home base is metal. Metal controls the wood element. And so when you start to understand these things and connect the dots with your own, past medical history, it's truly fascinating. I'll share one example from myself. I have suffered with bloodshot eyes most of my life. The white part of your eye is actually called the sclera, and mine look bloodshot, and they have for years. And my father is actually an optometrist. So this is an issue that I have worked on from the medical side since I was probably 12. I've tried different eye drops. I've had my tear ducts plugged. I had LASIK surgery because they thought my contacts were causing the issue. I've done allergy drops, you name it, I have done it. And everything was kind of a band-aid. It would work for a little while, and then I would be back to having bloodshot eyes. Through learning about the 5 elements, um, when your liver is having trouble, one of the places that it shows up is in your eyes, in the sclera, the white part of your eye, um, which is so fascinating. Now that I know that, and I have been taking steps to strengthen my liver through some of the things we'll talk about today, like foods and stretching, working on particular acupressure points. I'm also taking some supplements for my liver. In the past year, my eyes, the sclera, the white part, is the whitest it's ever been in my life. And so that's kind of partly why I love sharing these things, is it's empowering to know, to learn something and be able to use it in your own life and see a difference. And so I like sharing so that I can help someone else do the same thing and discover something new about themselves. So that's my little piece about myself. And hopefully, as we go through this, you're going to discover something about yourself. So today we're going to start with the wood element, which, as I said, that is your liver and your gallbladder. So at this point, whether you know or you don't know if you're governed by your wood element, if you are, some of the emotional symptoms that you could experience if your wood element is out of balance is aggressive behavior, anger or an angry outburst, depression, emotional repression, frustration, impatience, the inability to plan or organize. This is a big one for women. Like, say you know you need to plan a birthday party, but you just physically cannot take the steps and take the action to make it happen. That could be a sign that your wood element is out of balance. Someone who shouts a lot, if you have trouble making decisions, if you experience jealousy, moodiness, resentment, you're very rigid or inflexible, these are also signs of that your wood element could be out of balance. And again, sometimes you could read this and be like, oh my God, yeah, to every single one of those. And we all have seasons where that happens. But if this is something that you're like every day on the daily, you feel this way, then there is a chance that your wood element is out of balance. Or perhaps you're reading this and you're thinking, oh, I know someone that this applies to. The things that we're about to talk about, share with them. So one of the easiest ways to help shift and improve an imbalance in your wood element is by the foods that you eat. I truly believe that food is medicine. So to help strengthen your wood element, eating things like applesauce, avocados, cooking with basil, beef, beets, blackberries, broccoli. And side note, considering this is October and Breast Cancer Awareness Month, eating broccoli 2 times a week actually reduces your risk for breast cancer. So there's another reason to eat a lot of broccoli. Coconut milk, cucumbers, leeks, peppermint, plums, cooking with rosemary, summer squash, zucchini, all of these would be beneficial for your wood element. This is really interesting. Like I said, we all have all 5 elements, but every element is more active in a particular season. So for the wood element, it would be spring. And even if you're not governed by your wood element, knowing this, a way that you could strengthen your wood element in the springtime would be to eat some of the foods that we just talked about. Again, the emotion that is associated with wood is anger. This is super interesting, the time of day. Between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., if you are a person that has trouble going to sleep or staying asleep during this time frame, definitely a sign that you have an imbalance in your wood element. And in a minute, I'll show you the Chinese meridian clock that'll break that down into whether it's your gallbladder or your liver that's your issue. And then if you are someone with a wood element imbalance, saying this healing tone, shh, super helpful for you. Super easy to do. You can do it first thing in the morning or before you go to bed at night or when you're driving in the car by yourself. Just making this sound several times a day can do wonders for you. Okay, here is this meridian clock we were just talking about. So for wood, between 11 and 1 a.m., if you go to sleep around 11 and you can't go to sleep, that is a sign that your gallbladder is giving you problems. Or say you go to sleep at 10, but you're waking up around midnight, still your gallbladder. I personally wake up a lot, not as often as I used to, now that I've been working on my liver. But if you're waking up between 1 and 3 a.m., you definitely have an imbalance in your liver. And doing the things that we just talked about and the things that are coming in the following slides will definitely help you. So I'm going to share a few acupressure points for the wood element that will 100% make a difference in how you feel. Liver 3 is a very powerful acupressure point on the liver meridian. The liver and the gallbladder both actually, the meridian flows from the top of your head all the way to your toes. So there's lots of places along the way where energy can get stuck, which is why it's so important that we really do work on our liver and our gallbladder, because the energy runs through our entire body. So liver 3 is located between your first and second toe, where this red dot is. Side note, this is definitely not a point you want to work if you are pregnant prior to 37 weeks, as it will induce contractions. So if you're ready to have a baby, go for it. If not, do not use this point if you are pregnant. So in addition to working and being beneficial for your liver, it also helps treat some of the things that are listed here, which is dizziness, headache, vertigo, blurry eyes, depression, urine retention, and again, insomnia. So this is a point, and by working it, it's truly, you apply a little pressure with your finger. You can order something like this off of Amazon. It's called an acupressure pen, and you use this little point and you can point it on the spot and you just hold it for 30 to 60 seconds. And again, this is something you can do first thing in the morning or at the end of the day. It's just the fact that you're taking the steps to actually do it is very important. So liver 13 is another one. And this one you can see right here in the image. It's truly located at the base of your bottom rib in line with your nipple. So you just go down, you can feel where your ribs are. And most of the time, these points, if you have an issue in this particular element, these points are tender. Like, you know, when you've found the spot, because it's kind of one of those hurt so good situations. So that's a sign you definitely need to work it. Gallbladder 21 is another important spot. This one is actually really tender a lot of times in women. We tend to, as women, feel like we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, like we're responsible for all the things, you know, our home, our children, our job. And so tension has a tendency to land right here, which this point is located in like the medius part of your trap. And again, you do not want to use this one if you are pregnant prior to 37 weeks, as it will again induce contractions. This spot is also good for impairment of the shoulder or arm. It helps alleviate stiffness, rigidity, pain in the neck, shoulders, or upper back. If you have a cough, if you suffer from depression, or you have breast pain. And then the final point for your wood element that we're going to talk about is gallbladder 34. These, and again, even this one too, it's located on both sides of your body, so you can use it. You can do both sides. So for gallbladder 34, it is on the outside of your knee in the depression, just above your shin bone. It's about 1 inch above the head of the fibula. And again, this will be a tender point if you have issues with your gallbladder. This is also used to relax tendons and joints. It treats numbness in the leg, stiffness in the neck, shoulder, and elbow. And again, you think, really? Way down there could help your neck or your shoulder or your elbow? But again, remember I said the meridian lines, which is the energy, for your gallbladder. It runs from the top of your head all the way to the bottom of your foot. So it's pretty cool that you can work a point that's distal from somewhere else and it can still be beneficial. So it's kind of pretty cool. The body truly is so fascinating. Now we're going to talk about some meridian stretches. And again, these are just easy movements that you can do that help stretch the energy lines for the liver and the gallbladder. So this first one is called a hip raise pose. And I'm not going to read all these instructions over here, but you get the idea. You're laying on the ground and you're going to press your hips up. And if you are super flexible and you can grab your ankles with your hands, you're also stretching your arms as well as the entire front side of your body in this particular meridian stretch. And again, you can do these first thing in the morning or before you go to bed. I'm a big fan of doing these first thing in the morning because it helps kind of get the energy moving and helps you feel better to go throughout your day. The second one is called Gather the Moon. And this one is you start in the center with both arms up, raised, and then you're leaning to the side. And you do this in both directions, to the right and the left. And you're just holding it for a little bit, 30 seconds, nothing major. But you're stretching, and again, it's working the entire energy line in your body. This one is called a side bend pose. And you start in the back with, again, your hands above your head, your feet are flexed, and you're leaning over again in both directions. These are really good for your gallbladder, especially if you're a runner. Runners tend to have really tight side bodies. And I actually know several runners that are missing their gallbladder. So even if you don't have a gallbladder, you still have the energy meridian line. And so you need to be doing these kind of stretches that's still super beneficial for you. The second element we're going to talk about today is fire. If you remember back to the 5 elements, wood feeds fire in a normal, healthy individual. So we're moving on to the fire element. And this is actually the only element that has 4 components to it. If you remember, it's the triple warmer, the pericardium, and then your heart and your small intestine. So some of the emotional symptoms, if your fire element is out of balance, is you suffer from agitation, anxiety, if you have a continuous laugh. I think we probably all know somebody who laughs at like an inappropriate time and then they just continue laughing. That is actually a sign that their fire element is out of balance. If you're critical or you have a cynical behavior, excessive or vivid dreaming is another example. Forgetfulness, lack of joy or humor, mania, mental confusion, poor self-esteem, or restlessness are all examples. So some of the foods that you can add to strengthen your fire element is any kind of fruit would be good for you. Asparagus, cooking with basil, black beans, Brussels sprouts, cooking with cinnamon, cucumbers again, figs, grapes, green beans, kidney beans, lettuce, cooking with olive oil or paprika, eating raspberries or salmon would all be beneficial. So the season for your fire element is summer. Imagine that. The hottest time of the year for the fire element. So again, even if you're not governed by your fire element, in the summertime when the fire element is the most active, eating some of the foods we just talked about would be beneficial. The emotion with the fire element is joy. The time of day for this one is 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. because again, we had 4 elements. And we'll look at the Chinese clock in just a second. And then the healing tone is ha, being able to say that several times a day. Ha, ha. Just that vibration is good for your body if your fire element is out of balance. So here's that meridian clock. So between 11 and 1, if you have trouble, that is a sign that it's in your heart. So maybe you have indigestion after you eat, or maybe you can't eat during this time of day. This particular window is for your heart. Your small intestine would be between 1 and 3. Maybe this is the time of day where you feel sluggish, you need a nap, or you have low energy. That is a sign your fire element is out of balance. And then again, down between 7 and 9 p.m., that would be your pericardium, which is again the sac that surrounds your heart. And then from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., that is your triple burner. So this is the only element that's got 4 components to it. The acupressure points to help with your fire element are heart 7, which that is located on the pinky side of your hand, right where your hand and your wrist come together. There's a crease right there. And again, these points, when you find them, are typically tender if you have an imbalance here. Heart 7 is also good to promote a calm mind, alleviate anxiety, stimulate your memory. It helps with insomnia. It also alleviates hysteria, sadness, and heart palpitations. Pericardium 6 is on the thumb side of your hand, and it's about 2.5 finger widths down. And you'll feel a little spot in between your tendons. And this one is also good to reduce irritability, anxiety, and stress. It's also good if you suffer from PMS symptoms or you have bad cramps during menstruation. It's a really good point for you. It's also good for neck aches, nausea, and insomnia. Heart 9 is located on the front side of your hand, right on your pinky, on the outside edge of your pinky, right where your nail bed and skin meet. This one actually is a pretty tender one on me. This one is also used for dry mouth, night sweats, insomnia, mental restlessness, heart pain, and painful eyes. And then the final spot we're going to talk about for your fire element is small intestine 3. And this one, if you make a fist, and you'll see on the edge kind of just a little bit of skin that sticks out. Right there is small intestine 3. This is also a pretty tender one on me. This one is good for stiff neck and shoulders. It's good for an acute strain in your lower back, headaches, dizziness, earaches, and night sweats, in addition to just working if you have an imbalance in your fire element. And then the meridian stretches for your fire element. This is called a chest opener stretch. And let me tell you, it looks like you're not doing anything but sticking your arms out. But oh my goodness, when you flex your hands in this pose, if your chest is tight, whew, this sucker hurts. You can also do your wrist up and down like this while your hands are extended. That's actually called flossing in physical therapy world. But whoo, you feel it. And for your the energy or the meridian lines for your fire element, they're all just in your upper body. So it's just like your arms and your head, whereas in the wood element, they were at your entire length of your body. Just kind of interesting. This is called a 3-way neck stretch. And the first one is like both of your hands are together behind you and you're tucking your chin and looking down. You should feel a stretch down your entire arm this way. And then when you do it to the side, you're kind of putting your arm back a little bit, and you should feel a stretch from your pointer finger all the way up your arm, through your neck, into your head, if you're tight in this area, which I tend to be. So this one is one of those like, ooh, hurt so good kind of situations. Then you want to do it on the other side as well. And again, first thing in the morning or before you go to bed at night. It's just really whenever it is most convenient for you. The most important thing is that you're doing it on a daily basis. Then this pose is called a back stretch pose. And if you're super flexible, you're able to grasp your hands like this in the back. As you can see, I am not that flexible. My traps and my triceps don't allow me to do that. So you can still do this stretch just like I'm doing with like a sock or a dish towel. It's still beneficial. And you would want to do it in both directions. So alternating which arm is above you. But this is a great stretch. And then earlier we did talk about that I was going to talk about LifeWave patches. And these little stickers truly, they're magical. I love them because they are safe and natural. There's no stimulants or any medicine coming into your body, but there is so much scientific data behind these and how they work. We all radiate energy and everything runs on a different frequency, and that is what these patches are based on. It's different wavelengths, so it's light therapy, and we place these at different points on our bodies, these acupressure points that we've been talking about, and so they help recharge your internal battery, if you will. And there are specific ones for each of the elements that we're talking about, so that's really cool. The one for the wood element is called the Y-Age. It's actually 3 different patches. It's carnosine, aeon, and glutathione. And when you actually on these QR codes, if you want to scan them, it'll take you directly to a website where you can purchase these. And when you receive them in the mail, they each come with a little book that'll tell you specific places where you can apply these patches on your body. And the ones in the book are amazing for just like overall helping. If you know you have an imbalance in your wood element, using them on any of the acupressure points that I shared earlier today in the slides would also be a great place to use these. And you should be getting these slides in the mail, so you'll have reference to the acupressure points that we've shared today if you haven't been taking notes. And then the other one that we talked about today, the fire element, the LifeWave patches for it are called energy enhancers. So if you have an imbalance in your fire element, the energy enhancers are great magical stickers to help increase the energy in your fire element. And that concludes day 1 of our 5-element workshop. I'm so glad that you were here today. I hope that this has sparked some interest in you, or you're already connecting the dots on issues that you have in your own life. And now you have a few steps you can take to help you feel better. I'm excited that you were here today. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.